think that's it. All right. What was I gonna do? Grab the Q bean. That's what I was gonna. Okay. I got the Q bean here. I'm gonna probably play with today too if I have time. Mostly was gonna open one of these up. I put one to the side. But yeah, here's the M1 Lite and the Q bean in comparison. Switch it up the the garage a little bit to make it look like it was like some kind of studio, but it's a lot of complaints about people looking at my back. um Somebody asked, hey, ready to learn. Do you think the 1 kilogram Skywalker is worth it at the higher price? I've used it a few times. There's a couple issues with it in terms of the drum turning off, but I think that might have been more software issues. They might have fixed that up in the recent like revisions with High Beam. I honestly thought it felt like just roasting on a bigger Skywalker, like a bigger V1. So it actually felt pretty good. There's just, there's big questions like the longevity of it. If we compare it to like a V1, are you gonna have those kind of issues where quality will be a little bit more of a factor? And then since they're not as prominent as the V1, where there's a lot of parts and there's a lot of people you could help you work on it and fix it, it kind of comes an issue of like, if you're gonna have your company based on that roaster for 1 kilogram roaster, it's a gamble because it's new. No one really has it, and no one's really put it through its paces. I am getting more beans to run through it because I just don't have the capacity to do 1 kilogram roast or 800-gram roast all the time. That kind of becomes an issue. So I haven't really tested out as much as I did with the Q bean and the M1 Lite. M1 Lite are really just easy to get a roast out. It's 150 grams, 200 grams for each, and if you really wanted to do the recommended capacity, whereas it's just hard for me to find a way to hand out 800 grams worth of beans every time, because I am at a point where I just have way too many beans. I got like tons of these bags. I'm just going through them. They're all over the place, and I'm just like labeling them, and I'm trying to give them out and see what they taste like and do comparisons. So it's hard to say if the 1 kilogram is worth it right now, but it might be worth the gamble. And you're not spending a lot. You're spending like 1,200, I think, is the price that they're trying to sell them at. Although originally it was supposed to be 800, which was like a dream, but that's probably what the wholesale price is. But yeah, if you were to have your whole company based on that roaster, it's just more of a gamble. Where if you have something like a Bullet or an M10, more established brands that that actually work for long periods of time, then yeah, I think it's safe to say that if you really want to save money, not have to spend the $4,000, $5,000 on a Bullet or $2,228 for a M10, then I think the Skywalker might be a good choice, especially if you have the V1 already, because they kind of roast similarly. You can't take a profile from the V1 and use it on a 1 kilogram machine, but you can you kind of get the same feeling of it. So those numbers won't match exactly, but the ROR and the graph they tend to look pretty similar in terms of how they're shaped and how they react to the heat when you adjust them. But you can't just say like it will reach this temperature at this time with the same bean on a V1 versus a 1 kilogram, because there's so many differences in terms of the amount of bulbs that are in the lamps that are in the 1 kilogram. I have my 1 kilograms over here, and then just where the probe position is. So it's going to be different. But that's with every roaster. You couldn't get like a Cafe Logic numbers to match Kaleido numbers. This is not how it works. I tried. Not to say like, believe me, bro, but no, I tried. It doesn't work that way with the roasting. Yeah, I wanted to open this up in the front this time to kind of show you what's going on in there. I haven't looked at it myself, and I want to see how easy of a kind of how easy it is to work with. But I also wanted to show you something very interesting because the Kaleido did get a big brother. Let's see if I could find its big brother and show you. It's a 1 kilogram M1. I call it the M1 fat. Let me see if I can pull up the picture. Open. There it is. So this popped up recently. This is a this is technically this roaster. It's not even a roaster, it roasts nuts. But it was originally this one. It was originally this roaster that came out like a year or two ago. But they literally just said let's make it look like an M1 Lite. This is exactly what they did. So they took everything from here and they just put it in a fancy new case study. Even got the AI working right here to show you the beans, where the beans come out of. And there's no control. All you have is heat, like the temperature, how much you want to set it at, and then you have time. And then that's it. But anyways, yeah, that's the what's it called, the M1 fat. Yeah, pretty awesome. It looks cool. M1 fat, yeah. Rupat said it was M1 fat. PHAT, pretty hungry and thirsty. Yeah. So let's kind of open this up. I'll kind of show you what's going on in there. I wonder if my other camera will work. I also got this little Mevo camera, so it gets some up close and personals. I was supposed to use this camera for when my kids do what's that called? Sports. To live stream it. And I realized that they're obviously too young. And so look. Oh, back on. I should turn this on before. If it doesn't show up, no biggie. Anyways, yeah, let's pop this open. So, you got, just looks like a bunch of M3s in the front. We'll just pull out this front panel and then probably, yeah, just this front panel and just see what's in the inside looks like. It's annoying. There we go. See if I have the right screws for it, or drivers for it. I moved all my tools around too, so that didn't help. We're gonna pull this out. I'm bound to have them in here. Actually been looking for this one. Pull these front ones off. I've been roasting with this thing. It's been pretty good. There's like a weird fan issue, but it's not like a huge deal. there's a range between like 5% and 45% in the fan exhaust that doesn't really do anything. It just stays at one speed. But honestly, if you just keep it at what, 50, and you increase it over time, because usually you increase your exhaust over time, then it's not really big of an issue. But if you're experimenting or you're doing, you know, the fun stuff like we like to do, that kind of sucks. Because there is a recipe that a lot of us are using, profile that a lot of us are been playing with on the Skywalker, where we use 10% fan, and then we don't increase that fan until we hit first crack, and then we kick it up to 50%. Don't know why it works, but it seems to work just fine. We get really good light roast with it, and then you like pull it out in like 30 seconds when first crack starts. Pull this bad boy apart. These are all just looks like the regular M3s. I think they're called socket heads, and they look like they're 8mm long, in case you ever need to replace them, or you know, switch them out with a different kind. You could get button heads in titanium if you're like really wanting to get into it. And you can anodize titanium in different colors. That's what a lot of the FPV drone pilots were doing for a bit, anodizing their frames or some parts to the frame. What were they anodizing? Or maybe I'm thinking of 3D printers. You got to remember that the ones without the washer go on the top. I try not to. There's a ball end at the end of this, so it has a good chance of stripping it, or me rounding it out. So I gotta be careful. And these are fancy weirs as well, and they have a chance to like kind of smooth out as well. Get from here. Yeah, not really in there. Jesus. Don't fall. All right. Well, that was the last thing holding everything. Oh boy. Here we go. Don't lose that screw. Cool, I got lucky. All right, let's pull this out. Look at, oh, snaps. So we'll switch to this top one. That actually happens a lot. Don't feel special, Kaleido, because this happens a lot to the Skywalker as well, where you get a bean stuck in there. That's actually pretty impressive. But no, that's pretty common. I had that happen, just happened to my V1, where I found a bean hidden in there, and that sometimes will happen. And over time, you'll be like, why is he so fucking smoky? And sometimes there's like, why is there always one bean that's like black or charcoal? And every like, I don't know, probably like once a month this happens, where I just have like a random black bean fall out of nowhere, and it's either because it was stuck on the drum or the bean got stuck right here. And they're not really a big issue. It just definitely gets stuck there. To show the guys on the EFA Discord. All right, so they have like, oh, that proto length is small, stubby little boy. But it's a naked probe. It doesn't have like a sheath covering, so that's pretty cool. So you only need to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws, and 2 of them at the top, they don't have washers, and the rest of them, there's some have little washers, so that's a good thing to know. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got 6 screws to take out, and Yeah, that bean was stuck right in there, so that was pretty interesting. I'm gonna pull this back over here. Let me see if that camera's coming up. Click reconnect. Sorry. Yay, reconnection successful. All right. Sorry, I was on the wrong network. That didn't seem to matter. Oh wait, the camera's on. It's turned on. Well, do it another way. Oh, I'm gonna go for my top cam. I'll bring it upwards. Oh, just put a quick connect on this. Yeah. Anyways, we look at it from here. We're gonna look at the jump from here. You can tell it's pretty aggressive. They have really aggressive fins. They're very like serrated, and I think that's to manage the chaff in terms of like getting it off the bean. Very familiar setup in terms of how the drum is. You got like little, those are probably M3s. Let me see. Nope. Those are 3.0 on the hex. So whatever this is in Wera. In Wera numbers, this is the 3.0. But yeah, you just take those three off, and then that's how you probably pull off the drum. Or if I could do it from here. Yeah. I'd probably recommend getting a metric T handle, and just because this is so long and it's really hard. Unless I have a bigger, hard to remove. Unless I have a bigger one. Let's see if this works. God, I haven't used these in years. Oh my gosh, that's in there tight. Yeah, I don't want to mess this up. I probably should get the tool that it's made for. So yeah, if you're gonna remove those screws to get the drum out and work on it, I'd recommend getting a T handle. Those look like. See if I could find a picture of them. Yeah, they look like kind of like these, but they're long. You get them at Harbor Freight or whatever the your place's version of Harbor Freight is. Usually like a T, and they'll have a hex, and you look for like a. This one said hex 3. So if you're fancy and you get Wera drivers and you only get Wera T handles, then it would be a Wera 3.0 T handle set for my fancy folks out there. I'm trying to, I got to open up. Okay, so we took that part out. That's actually pretty nice and simple. You know what? I'm going to try to get this drum out. 3.0 millimeter hex. This one also says 3.0 millimeter. So, oh, there we go. The gas hands are in the way, but I'll move them. Okay, well, we'll just pull this out. Here's the drum. I'm gonna take the screws out so I don't lose them. There's 3 and they all have washers, so let me make sure I get those together. This is actually a really nice drum too. Very hefty. Let's see if I still have that. I said I was gonna soak that other drum, but I see it on the floor. Let me go show you how big it is compared to a V1 drum. This almost feels like the same weight as this, which is kind of surprising. So here's the M1 Lite drum. It has the same D pattern thing going on. So it only mounts one way, which is really nice. And there's all the beans around it. I still haven't pulled them all out. Kind of reminds me of little ticks. All right. Let's go look at the inside. It's a pretty nice little setup. Has a little coupler as a D shape. They call that single cut. Uh-oh. When you have a shaft, they'll call it like a single cut on one side, indicating like, and that's like the D shape. So it fits in a certain way. I'm not gonna take the rest out, but there is the there's a D-shaped pattern that connects to the drum right there. And then you have the what's it called? The environmental temperature probe right over here. From the looks of it, it stays to the side, and you have the two lamps on the top part in the 1 and 2. I think it's set up as 7 and 300. So 7, 8, 9, 10. Because they're 1,000 watts. I think one lamp is 700. The other lamp is 300. I can't remember. That's how they set theirs up. The Q-beam on the other hand, the Q-beam here, it has only one 700 watt lamp, and they do pretty good. I actually think that the lamps in here are kind of a little too strong, to be honest. Well, I guess you shouldn't be roasting at 100%, but I did roast it at a 100%. I was getting like 5-minute roasts. At like 150 grams, so this thing is pretty strong. And yeah, after that you just have this really big metal panel in the front, and then the drum is on the back of it. You can't really take it out. I think it's spot welded. No, it's attached. There's 1, 2. There might be another set of screws that kind of keep it on, but yeah, it looks like the panels are set by these 4 screws. There's one here and then one here. You have to probably remove the side panels to get to them. And this hole is the inlet hole where all the air goes through, and then it makes its way. What's to say? It makes its way over here, and it heats the hair here before entering the drum, something like that. And there's the exhaust. Oh. So 2 lamps in here, and then there's an exhaust port right there. That's for the inlet air, so that air goes in, and then it's supposed to, oh, there it is. there's a chamber, I guess, right in between here, and the air comes out this way because there's like a little gap right here. So air goes through here, a little chamber. You get a marker. We get fancy up in this bitch. All right. All right. So here, air goes in. So that's cold air goes in, and it travels between this chamber and between the drum and the drum and the outside of the chamber. We get a little bit of air goes in through here, circles around here, and around this area is where you see, like right here, there's a little bit of an opening. And that's where all the air comes out. It's supposed to be warmed by then, and then that goes into the drum. That's has all the beans, and that heats it up, and that's how it uses a lot more of convection heat. But at the same time, these systems aren't like dominated by just convection or just conduction or just radiant heat. There's probably a little bit of radiant heat going on, very minimal though, because radiant heat needs more like time, and the drum kind of blocks it, so you get maybe a little bit of radiant, probably more conduction. Definitely more conduction heat on the drum because the lamps are right there, probably heating up the drum. And then, yeah, that's part of where the conduction would hit. But mostly, they say it's mostly convection, which I think is true. So, very interesting way. I think it's pretty cool. And this is the sealed version that they're selling. Now, they used to not do this before, and now then they started implementing it. So anyways, cool. And that's it. And then you got your two fans. Sorry, these are the two cooling fans. Yeah, just rub these off. Pretty neat stuff. All right, so you're repairing everything. Let's put this cover back. I mean, I might try roasting. Yeah, I got like 45 minutes. This goes like this. Okay, that goes like that. Oh, I gotta put the drum back in. That would be the smart thing to do. So, like I said, the drum only goes in one way, so follow that D pattern. We'll put it in here, drop that in. It's nice, small, and convenient, so you might be able to take it out and clean it with some or soak it in a cleanser. Some people will do Kafiza, other people will do the stuff called PB wash or something like that. I think a lot of brewers use that. I would probably just use a dishwashing pod soaked overnight. Here's the fun part, is getting it in without getting my hand cut or losing that. Damn it. Actually, no, this is fine. I'm gonna line that bad boy up. See if one of these are magnetized. You know what I should have did was probably see what the torque was. I have like a little torque wrench for these kind of projects. Good. We'll just make it tight enough, and then I'll tighten it up a little bit more if needed. God, it's so sharp in there. The inside of a sarlacc pit. There we go. try to hold it in place and not turn the motor, because that might, because the motors, if you turn them, if you turn like a stepper motor or DC motor, they act as generators and they can cause like a little bit of backflow that might actually fry your circuit board. But it's a Kaleido, so more than likely it's properly built, so it shouldn't do that, but it's always good to be safe. So we're gonna put that right here. This looks like it goes right here. In case you didn't know, when you pull this up, you can you don't have to hold it. You can just go to the side, and that will keep it in place. You know, be like me and hold it. Be like, oh, you could put it to the side and then drop your beans in case all the beans don't fit, because it only fits like 180 grams of beans most of the time. There we go.
So just so you remember, make sure to put the 2 screws that didn't come with washers on first,
and those go right over here. Goes down right into here. I should do is I'm gonna cat out this plate so I could set it to send cut send, and then I don't know, do something stupid like make it a titanium plate, because why not? You don't really need to do it, but it sounds like a fun thing to do. I just want to anodize one, see what colors I could come up with. Okay, that's in there, that's in there. And these screws are all the same size. I lied, they're not all the same size. This shorter one goes here. Yeah. So the short ones, I believe, go 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes that way. And then longer ones with the washer goes here. And then ones without the washer but are long, they go on the top part. These two. And those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 screws that you got to take out. That's how you pretty much take off that front panel. Pretty simple. Also remember when you are roasting that you push that in, even if it clicks once, there's the harder click. There's like 2 clicks. So there's 1, 2, 3. 1 click. Well, no, 1 click, 2 click. Usually it'll drop in like that, won't go in all the way. I might have to push in just a little bit more. And these are magnets. That's what holds this up. Pretty genius. Very hard to get to, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. But that's pretty much how you get out of those. This is the fans. You could probably easily replace these and just take these 4 screws out. They're a different kind of screw compared to the other ones. What I end up doing is putting 2 of the shorter ones here. These are actually long, and then long without washer. With washer, with washer, with washer, long and long. Good. All right. That's what that looks like inside. Let's go check out this Q-bean. Go over the differences. And they're selling this for, I think they're still selling this for $6.99. I think it's a pretty good deal. And here's the M1 Pro. The side over here. A little bit different. I think the front panel is stupider on this one. And I like not, it's not elegant, but I like the simplicity of this front panel. I don't even know where that front panel's at. All right, Q-bean. Or Nova, if you buy it from iTop. Different name for different places. A little bit different from the M1 Lite. This is more, they say it's more radiant heat, but I think it has equal amounts of convection and conduction. It's not as much radiant heat in terms of like what dominates the roast more. And I think it's mostly just convection and conduction. Maybe a little bit of radiant heat, but because all 3 of them are acting at the same time, just which one's the more dominant one. And the way that the graph looks like when you do like a steady air and steady lamp and you just watch the beans, ROR, it actually does a small little bit of a decline. It does plateau a little bit right during the Maillard phase, and then first crack is just shoots up because the whole exothermic reaction thing. But anyways, front panel has like just 2 of these screws. I never put them on, I just take them off. A little bit different from the V1 is that you have to like lift it up a bit and then push this down. So it has like little feet or little claws that, not claws, or little grabbers that hold onto the bottom. This one's super simple. Here's the NTC probe. Like, it's so easy. During one roast, I took out this probe and I put in a thermocouple, because that's what we're allowed to do. Well, because why not? But no, I actually switched this to a thermocouple, hooked up to the Skywalker. Now has an external probe that connects to the ESP32s that we have. So instead of using that, instead of connecting like the thermocouple and max amplifier to the ESP32, what you're able to do is have a separate ESP32 powered by a battery, or I don't know, whatever your power source is, and acts as a separate probe that's a separate environmental temperature probe. There's also a firmware where we switched it in case somebody really wants to do a thermocouple in here. There's a firmware that we switched it so where the bean temperature shows that when you're roasting. Anyways, Q-beans here, a little bit better build quality in terms of V1. Has cool parts that do have a little bit of metal or a little bit of wood accents. I was considering replacing this knob with something that's more like walnut or something 3D printed. I haven't decided yet. So for here, you only have like 1 or 2 screws that really hold this thing in. I think it's these 4. Let's find out. Okay, so you have this screw that holds it in, that screw that holds it in, and I think these 2. So you have 4 screws that hold in that front plate. Let's pull this out. Right here is the lamp.
a lot easier to, I guess, access, but
you're probably going to access it from the back and just unplug it from here. So we'll pull out these screws, and that kind of holds that this bottom plate. And here's where the air comes out. And this is where the controller's supposed to go. I took it off. And then there's a side thing that collects all the chaff. So the chaff collection occurs here. And I think it's because the paddle moves the chaff, and then this sucks out all the chaff. It's like a metal impeller. So I'm going to take this off. Another crappy thing that they do is they use Phillips. So I'd pull this screw out here, that screw out of here, and pull that screw, and then this screw. They're somewhere. Right. You just pull that out. You would just pull those 4 screws out, and then you have access to the front panel. And there's also a little bit of caution that the bean does get stuck in here. And they actually have a really long probe. Kind of sticks out into the bean mass. So right here, you could pull it out from here. They use a agitation paddle, I guess, is what these are called. Roast does the same thing, or a similar thing, not the same. They do it a different way, but yeah, these just act as like a little bit of just agitating the beans, moving them around, moves the chaff around, and then the chaff usually gets sucked up into here. The nice part about that is there's less chances of it burning. The only thing is you got to have it at a high rate for the air so it could suck it in. And there's still a little bit of chaff that gets left over, but not as much as the M1 Lite. I don't think I've had a chaff fire in this. M1 Lite, I have a small little chaff fire, but it wasn't a big deal. I was roasting really hot and wild. But yeah, that goes in there. Yeah, so there's one side you could tell that goes on the inside. This is this part, the oblong part, that goes into there. And then the more round part goes into the front, into this little bushing that it spins off of. Oh, also, did you get a chance to take a look at the Rex roaster? You know, I was supposed to, but I think he really wanted someone to buy it. And I don't know. It was raining that day, and we kind of just canceled it. I think he wanted like $3,000 for it. I just didn't want to. I was interested, but I didn't want. I'm not $3,000 interested in the Rex roaster, not yet. Even though it's going to be selling for like $6,000. Yeah. And the cool thing about this is if you put it back in, you just got to turn it until you feel it like go into the hole. There it goes. Good. That's part in there. Oh, see the lamp from here? Yeah. Right, so the lamp is housed in here. There's a little metal screen that separates it. You can't replace it. I think it's welded in there. So it's hard to take out. One concern is like how much heat that occurs here that might affect the overall drum. Let me show you what the drum on the outside looks like. The drum on the outside, but the thing that holds in the paddles. This is basically where all, this is where the lamp, this is the inside without the cover. This is where all the guts are at. There's the paddle in there. Then right in here, right in there, that's where the lamp is. I took the lamp out on this one, but the lamp just kind of sits in there, and it really heats up this side. And there's actually a little bit of a concern that somebody was mapping out the heat after like a roast, and this whole section right here gets way hotter than the rest of it. And someone was mentioning like metal rot, I guess, from constant heat cycles. That might be an issue. So he was, I forgot what he was going to do. I think he was planning on maybe putting a different shielding on there. I'm not sure. I think his thing was like this metal builds up enough heat here too, and it just makes that whole side super hot. They put this blanket around it for a reason. I'm guessing maybe to help prevent that. All right, let's go put this back together. And that's basically it on this. That's the whole cubing. Nice and easy to put together. Let me put this back on. I honestly think this is a lot better built than the V1. It doesn't have that weird plastic front case that has a tendency to melt over time. I think that's kind of a big issue. I'll put the other screws on in later. Yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna grab the M1 Lite and let's go roast with it. I got some time to roast. Go see if they're interchangeable. I think they are. Yep, that came from the M1 Pro. So those parts are kind of it's basically the M1 Pro, but cost-cutting measures in place. Yeah, is it working better? Yeah. Someone made a comment about my big back, and I got a little embarrassed, a little shy after that. So I'm hoping this works better. Then I can show off all my roasters. See, got the Sniper M2. I got the V1. I got the M1 Pro, which I need to sell. I like the Lite. I like the Lite more than I like the Pro. Although, one thing about the Pro is like it from 20% to 45%. There's no change in fan speed. So, and I have the Cafe Logic Nano. That's the one. I really didn't think I'd like it. I thought about just roasting with it, comparing it how it tastes, and I'm like, I don't know. I like it. It's pretty badass. Like you just put a profile in it, it just does it, and it's consistent every single time. So I really like using that when I do profile comparisons with the cubing and the Skywalker. And the way I've been doing roasting with the V1 using the what are we calling it now? The Valsky plateau technique. I'm getting really good quality like light roast from it that way, and it tastes pretty good. I still don't know why, because it's 250 grams. It's not even reading the temperatures right on the probe, but I'm still getting pretty decent like light roast results with it. So I'm treating it more like a recipe instead of like following an ROR, and I'm just kind of just letting it happen, and it's been working out pretty well. Anyways, go set this up. Take the paddle out. So I'll pray for this power surge that it's doing all of the good roasting work. Let's hope it doesn't trip a circuit. Let me clear out this table. Put all my screwdriver bits in here. Oh yeah, I think I pinned it up. We'll go over it real quick. It's kind of a silly style. I'm still trying to figure out like the explanation of why it's doing light roast really well on a Skywalker. It's doing it better than on my M1 Lite for some reason. I don't know why. Let's see if it pops up. Here it is. We'll go over that technique. This one. All right, so here, we look at it, the whole big plateau. Look how low the air is. That's one big thing about it. It's low air for the whole time until the end where first crack happens, and then we push the air up to 40 and then another 50 midway. But you don't do this on a Kaleido because it's not going to work. What you want to do is keep it at 50. You want to charge temperatures at 165, and then you drop it in. You leave it at 50 for the heat. I think right after after yellowing, and you're going into the Maillard phase, you drop it down again to 45, and then once you have first crack hit, then you drop it down to 40, give it a few seconds, and then jump up the air to 40 to 50, because that's when I think a good majority of the smoke is developing, and then that kind of helps pull out all the smoke and also cool the beans over time as well. Because when you have that air coming in, it actually takes away the heat from the beans, acts as a cooling effect. And there you go. And that's the process. It has a few amount of changes. That's weird as hell. And it's 250 grams. We've dialed in it for that. As to why it works, no clue. But it works, and I've had a few good light roasts with it. Back to Discord. That's all right. I mean, I'm always on there, so don't feel like you have don't let anyone ever have to feel like that to be there 24/7. There's a bunch of us nerds nerd out on coffee beans. Okay, when you got a setup like this, when you're roasting and you have a ducting setup, Kaleido recommends not directly attaching it back here, but actually leaving a gap and using like an inline booster to suck in the air. And honestly, I think they do that just to prevent like condensation and like the oils from leaking. Because for some reason, when all that hot air and moisture is coming out and it goes through these like metal pipes, it cools it off, and I think that's where all that condensation and oils build up. Because I use an air gap with all my roasters with the inline, kind of like an inline booster, which is my Airwave, and I haven't had those dripping oil issues at all. I've actually seen the oils within the pipe, like in the ducting of my Airwave. Like I've seen the oils and the moisture build up in there, but I don't see it from here. So I've never really had that issue. And someone was asking if it's a moisture thing in terms of like humidity of where you live, like Florida compared to a desert place like Mojave Desert. You know, there's no it's pretty much dry out there. But I think it'll happen even in the dry areas. It just depends on what the moisture of the beans are. Like if you have a high moisture concentration, then I actually think that's when you'll see more of those oils and condensation come to the pipe and start leaking. I think what I'm trying to say is have a little air gap, I think. Some people put a little hood right here and then have the inline fan suck all that air out. We're gonna close this off. Let me go connect we connected to high beam. Unfortunately, with Kaleidos, they don't work well. They don't work at all with iPads or iOS system because of the whole BLE thing. Let me pull this up on my. I think I gotta get the tablet warmed up. Looks like it spikes at first crack when the air is turned up. I think that's when you turn the air on, it should spike up. Come on. Start now. Start casting. I'm casting on my Android tablet. There we go. This is the slowest tablet I have. I've been using the iPad mini. It's been working a lot better. But that's for the Cubine and for the V2. Go. All right. Let's see if I have it in here. Yeah. I'll see if it connects. Pretty good. See if it turns on. Nope. That worked. That worked. Good. All right, I'm gonna turn this fan off. If you don't know how to connect it, we'll do that real quick. Actually, let's just. If you ever need to delete one, you delete like this. Delete device. Delete device. If you ever need to look it up and add it in, go here to plus. I'm gonna search for. I passed it up. There you go. Kaleido M1, M1 Lite. Let it scan for a bit. You might have to restart the scan too. It's kind of wonky. Then you're gonna look for something called Roaster SRS V6. And this is the same thing for the V1 Pro or M1 Pro. Good. We'll hit complete. We'll go to device. I should switch to a different. Yeah, we'll keep it there. I'm gonna hit confirm. Start manual roasting. I'm gonna do a preheat.
Preheat flow. Power adjusted to 100%.
Oh, I gotta put a target temperature in. So we're gonna shoot for a target temperature of, we'll do 200. Okay, let that warm up. Oh man, it's so much, the setup is a lot better. Oh, what bean should I roast today?
Seeing how small those holes are,
I'm gonna have my try at this Rwanda Milles Peaberry Lot 2. Not recommended for Be More Grid drums, is what the description says. These are very small beans. Now I'm getting anxious. Look how small these are. They're tiny. We'll compare it to we'll compare it to this Bourbon. Actually, I should roast this Bourbon. I got the Bourbon here. If I put it together with here, how incredibly small that bean is. I think I'm getting a little worried about putting it into this, the M1. So I'm gonna do it with the Q bean. I think it'll be a better I think it'll be better in that because there's no holes to get stuck in. So today we'll do this one I got from New Orleans Coffee Import Company. It's a Philippines. This is embarrassing. Benguet Bourbon Arabica from the mountains of Cordillera. I used to live in the Philippines. That's really embarrassing for me. So this is from ATOC Coffee Growers Co-op. It's washed. The varietal is Bourbon. Elevation 1,300. Smells good. We'll try roasting with that. We'll let this warm up for a few minutes. Who dat? Nope. Okay. Let me go get some cups and where is my is it? Get a cramp trying to go over that wire. Do more yoga. Oh. Okay, 11:03. So I got 45 minutes. So I got to pick up the young one. So make this happen. We're gonna do 150 grams. I'm gonna do 150 grams here, then 150 grams on the cubine. God, I'm losing my mind. $153, 150, 150.1. me turn this way. I forgot to hook up the airwave, so we're not going to use the airwave. Let me back this up a bit. Back it up. We'll give it a few more minutes. It just hit preheat, so I'll give it a few, like maybe 2 more minutes, and then I'll load up the beans. Actually, I should get loaded up now. It doesn't get too hot in the front. Like a DJ. And here's the thing I always get mixed up is like how to turn off the auto mode when you go, but I think all you have to do is press the button or press like the arrow, down arrow, and it should switch it away from the auto or the PID auto peat settings. Oh, so I am gonna sign up for my what is that thing called? Cottage food license thing. I'm gonna apply for one. But when that happens, I'm trying to figure a way to get all these beans out of here, and I think I'm just gonna have to start selling them. And then I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm gonna have to start bringing some streams inside, because you're not allowed to roast like in a garage. It has to be in a kitchen where it's separated by dogs and children. And it has to be a clean kitchen. So there might be a few roasts. Well, with the one, especially with the 1 kilogram machine, I'm getting a bunch of like co-ferments. So I'm gonna try my best to roast those and sell those. Let's see how that goes. And then mostly I'm doing it just to first I need some kind of income. Buy these beans. Also got to pay like server fees for the SkyWiki, which is only like $4 a month. So I can't really complain. I just want to buy more beans and experiment, so that's another reason. Right, it looks like it's heated up. The only thing is I only could sell to people in California. So if you were to want to support me, you'd have to be in California. All right, put this in.
Automation triggered. Set PID value to 220.0 degrees Celsius.
I'm gonna put this fan up to 50. This is blasting hot air on me, so I'm just gonna go like this. And let's go back to the window. There we go. And I'm gonna get the drum speed just a little bit faster.
Turning point detected.
The turning point's there. It's gonna shoot on up. Oh, I need that cup. Watch the roast. Don't let it burn down my house. Damn, I really gotta clean up this garage. Oy.
Okay. Put that in here. It's predicting that we're gonna get to dry end in about 3 minutes and 54 seconds. I kind of like believing what it says on the M1 Lite on some of the calculations. They're definitely off on like the V1. The fuck is that? I'm gonna drop the heat a little bit. No, I want to get there at 3 minutes 54, so I'm gonna keep it there. Okay, I'll drop it. Go. Increase the air. I'm gonna try to keep this whole nice declining RR thing going on. Just some small adjustments. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. This is what I should have been looking at. The expected yellowing. I was looking, for some reason, I was looking at the DE time of last time. Yeah, it looks like we're going to the 5 minute mark. A little bit longer on that. I should have probably dropped the heat a little bit more on that one. That's all right. Let's see if it's hit yellowing. Baked goods. All right. So let's hit it. Not bad. If I expect to hit first crack at 8 minutes 32, that's not bad for me. Somebody asked the question on high beam, is there any profile that automatically controls the temperature of the heater, and can you set the maximum to 90% only? I think it tries if you set up the PID. I think all the firmwares now have, let me focus on this real quick. I think all the firmwares now have like a little bit of form of a PID, so it should be able to, when you go to automatic roasting settings, you should be able to pick the PID temperature tracking one versus event tracking. I gotta look up what the terminology is again, but and they should follow that curve as best as it can. That's not a guarantee that I'll follow it. A lot of time you're gonna have like it overshoot. Someone did recently release some PID settings that was working for them, so you could take a peek at those. I'm not doing a very good job on this roast. You could set automation to where I think it prevents you from going past 90% on your automations. And I think that's machine specific. When you're roasting, and make sure not to go over that 90%, but it won't kick it out of, it's a Black Widow. It won't kick it out of, it won't kick it out of auto roasting mode. I don't think. I don't really mess with the automation stuff yet. I think I lost all thermal inertia. I think we hit first crack. At 180, this is surprising. Nope, not yet. It's poofing and puffing every once in a while, but yeah, my ROR is kind of low. But when I hit first crack, I really don't want to make any adjustments or increase the heat. I guess we're just going to plateau this one. I think that's first crack. That's 1, 2. I only heard 2. Hear poofing. I don't hear the crack, 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 crack. Just the poofing. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Probably asked Palau this question, but do you mark first crack after you hear like 3 pops and cracks, or just when you start hearing the cracks? I'm gonna do 1:30 on this, and then we'll drop it right around there. It's weird. My motor feels like it keeps dying. Like it'll stop briefly, but it'll keep going. I don't know what that's about. I think maybe a bean's getting stuck somewhere. Oh, Talal left. I'll ask him later. Minute 30.
Automation triggered. Set fan speed to 100%.
Yep. And we're off to the races. So maybe I should have went to like 70% on this. What did I start off on? 60? I did 200. What did I charge at? I charged at 200. Dropped at, let's see, I did it a minute before turning point. A lot of people like to use turning point as like as a time that they want to like hit it at. Someone told me they like to try hitting turning point right before a 1 minute mark, I guess, or at the 1 minute mark. I can't remember, but something like at the 1 minute mark, turning point should occur, and it's just a sign of I guess, a good roast. Do you typically lower the heater or increase the heater at the turning point? I start off. What I normally do is I usually start off the heat like whatever percentage you think it is. Like maybe if it's a V1, I'll start at 80%, and then throughout the roast I just decrease it and then increase air if I want to make like small changes. But usually the more dramatic ones are if you decrease the heater. What a lot of people do is they'll try playing with it to get it like to stagger them. Like you want to do one big heat change and it goes by 5 points, I think. And then you want to drop it and you want to raise the air up by 5 on the next one, maybe. And maybe still keep in the air, like keep raising up the air maybe twice. And then you want to lower down the heat. Kind of depends on how you want to roast. When you're starting off though, it's easier if you just keep the air the same and you just adjust the heat so you get a better visual of like of how the it's just a better way of getting the heat to trend downwards without getting too confused. I normally don't increase heat during the roast. Yeah. Rarely. If there's a time where I feel like if I started off too low and my thermal inertia is just so low to the point where I don't even think I'll be able to hear first crack at this point, I might turn it up during the Maillard phase or even in the drying phase, but I tend not to make any increase adjustments during first crack. Air at 20%. Starting off, depends on how you want to roast. If you want to roast that one profile light, you start off at like 10. But normally I start off at 50. And I feel like that's just it's a good number to have. I did the lighter test before, and I always found like 50 was able to move the lighter, like to suck in the flame of the lighter just enough. And that's what people like Rob Hoos would set their air at when they start off. But yeah, if you want to keep it at one setting and just roast by decreasing the heat, I would say keep it at 50%. So if I were to do it all over again, for this, I like to see how the ROR naturally declines because it's a convection roaster. So I like to see how well it declines over time, and it usually normally declines on its own if you keep it at the same heater setting. But I think I probably wanted to catch it before this plateau and then maybe drop the heat or increase the air. It kind of depends on what my air is at. I might increase the air just so it could be a little bit of a steadier decline, but I feel like it's going on an upward path, then I might drop the heater instead of the fan. And then the fortunate things with these electric roasters is you have enough time to see how like your settings are affecting the bean in relatively good time. That's one nice part about these electric roasters, where if you had a gas roaster, I think they're coming like, you have to plan things like in 30-second intervals. It's crazy. I think next stream I'll bring up the cormorant, and I'll try roasting with that on stream and seeing how that goes. Because I have that connected to high beam as well. All right, let's complete this log. So I didn't add these beans yet, so I gotta look them up. Ooh, I get 5 out of 5 this month. Let's see if this works. Ooh, I'll have to tell Will that the Philippines is a origin. How dare you? Let's save. Confirm. All right. So things you want to do is kind of put in your green weight. See what it weighed out after. This is all cool. This actually looks really nice. Need a little cuppy cup. Feel prepared. Thought I was prepared with everything. Just gonna grab a cup. Oh, this works. Ooh. I need to make a 3D print funnel for this. $126.9. 15% weight loss. Not bad. Can't remember if I should have went darker on this or lighter. So we'll put that in as well. So 15.4 per weight loss. This looks more like I'm gonna do it by eye. I also could do it by my Agtron, but light medium. Oops. No. Light medium. There you go. Good. If I need to make any changes, and let's share this. Complete the log. I'm gonna take a snack. Snacky one. Citrusy? Flowers? Kind of tastes like flowery. Not a fan of that. Ugh. All right, we'll share this. I should put bite. Flowery, citrusy. Good thing. I'm gonna upload my notes as I go on, but I'll share that. Cool. Complete. Now it's all shared. I wonder if this is old. Check for update. Oh, we're good. Latest one. Let's check the community. Not popping up. Okay. Well, that was kind of it for me. Anything else? Oh, so the next roast, I got something else I want to try. Maybe tomorrow. Still very hot. Fuck it. I'll just turn it off. I feel like I should. Maybe. Pull this sucker off. Next roaster I want to do is another one I want to get on the high beam is the a new one that recently came out. It's a newie, but it's a oldie but newie. I'll pull it out just to show you the plan for next week. Down real quick. Ugh. Ta, 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 ta. I gotta give it a lot of space. Gotta give this old man a lot of space. Oh, all right. The next one I'll try roasting with is this. This is the CBR 301 from Gene Cafe. I bought it because I've always wanted to try a Gene Cafe, but I heard that new Gene Cafes have that setting I absolutely hate, is where you have to press the button at a certain time to have the roast continue, and if you miss on that certain time, it'll shut down the whole roast. I didn't realize they did that, so I'm actually a little bit upset about that. I'm already off to a bad start, but here it is. We'll try roasting with it. We'll see how it goes. Probably tons of videos on the Gene Cafe, but it's the same thing. It just has this fancy case on the outside, and you're paying $260 for a pretty basic app to save your profiles. 2 knobs to control everything. I think it's supposed to be heat, and then heat, and what was the other one? I think rotational speed. I'm curious to see how this works.
But the workflow looks kind of annoying already, because I have to pull this out. I'm gonna have to get like a mitten. Yep. Thing open. Oh, there you go. So I gotta open like that. I gotta pour out the beans. So it's gonna be interesting roasting on this. And the max capacity is 300 grams. Yeah, we'll see. See how that goes. That's screw this in, right? I did something wrong. Hold on. I don't know how to put this back together. That goes there. Good. That's on there. Oh my god, that's... So we're gonna try this out next week. Maybe tomorrow, who knows. We'll see how well it goes. But yeah, this is the CBR 301. Honestly, I don't know. I'll give it a whirl. I'll see if I like it. If I don't like it, I might actually return it. So it's yeah, CBR 301. I think I like the older design of the Gene Cafe too. This kind of looks like a weird appliance, like a shitty bread maker. I can't wait to show you the app. Fantastic. It is also unencrypted, which is nice. And they show you what they're sending back and forth without obscuring it. So I'm gonna do things to get it to high beam. So we'll see how that works. We'll see if I have enough time to do that. Hopefully work doesn't pick up. But yeah, that was it for today. So hopefully next week, what is next week? Next week, I think I'm going to World of San Diego, World of Coffee in San Diego coming up in April. So how many weeks do I have left? And if anyone's going, please let me know. About 2 more weeks. So 1 week, 2 weeks. Cool. Yeah. In about 3 weeks, I'll be at World of Coffee. If anybody's gonna go, let me know. We could drink coffee together. And you could I don't know. You could help me find someone to buy greens from. So a large amount of greens. And that's about it. Anyways, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to learn something, or you want a video of something, let me know. Put a video in. I've been trying to stream a little bit more. If I do stream Thursdays, I'll keep it the longer ones, and then if it's like on a Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to keep them to like a 45-minute stream, and it's just going to get straight to the point. This one I kind of just winged it and said, oh, I'm just going to open this up. But I think next time, it'll be the long one will be this one. It'll be the first time playing with this. And maybe Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, I'll do your standard maintenance, one maintenance thing or one repair. We'll see. We'll keep it like that for now.
keeping it fun. But yeah, questions, comments, concerns, let me know. And I don't know, drink more coffee. We'll see ya.